Another day, another blessing. 727272. Those are the numbers popping up right now for me. What it do? Okay, I'm gonna take off these glasses in a minute. I'm just letting the energy settle. It's so funny that it is 7:27 on my phone, and I got like 72% on my phone too. Because when I was first starting to set up this thing, this this live, 7.2s were already like present then. I think it was probably 7:02 at 7 and still 72%. So I thought that that was something special. Maybe we should look that up. I'll look that up in a minute too. I gotta do. There's things I gotta take care of. That's why I'm getting on here so I can like talk to y'all because I really feel pulled to talk to y'all. And then I gotta go take care of some business. Okay, some business. 7272 is really up in here. So we're gonna look into that. I wanted to look up something really quickly, so but I can't seem to get to it that fast. I was supposed to pull it up before I started, but got it. Okay, here we go. So, anyways, welcome. Welcome to Embodied Spirituality. My name is Ashanti Marie. I am your co host with the Most High. And this is where the divine has a message for you, me, and thee. You know, spiritual conversations, that's where we're at. Maybe it's a little bit of a blabbing, a little bit. Ooh, we needed that. Ooh, just a little bit more light, Jesus, because it was getting darker and darker in here. Um, but yeah, spiritual conversation. So, really excited about it. I do Reiki. So my intention here is to also bring good, loving, divine energy into the mix, um, and divine healing. You know what I mean? So I encourage you to get your tea, get your whatever you need to sip on and drink some water or whatever. Um, whatever is your vibe right now, chewing on some ice, whatever is your vibe, okay? Get comfortable though, because we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna sit here. We're gonna talk for a little bit, and then I'll be out y'all here. You know what I mean? So, um, I usually start with like the disclaimer and my titles, but I have written a prayer, so we're gonna like put this into the flow. I usually pray before I get on, anyways. But I wanted to create a prayer that you know that I'm gonna use on my YouTube channel. It may change and alter as time goes on, but this is what I got. Okay. Ancestors, guides, and angels, for the greatest good of all involved, higher self and source, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this day and thank you for the air and the breath that fills my lungs. I am so grateful. Thank you for the opportunity to be before the tribe, as well as those looking for a tribe, and the gift of being able to deliver messages to the community as well as to myself. I pray that the Most High uses me as a conduit to spread the good word, and the good word is love. I pray that I share only what is needed and necessary, and that the viewers receive what is meant for them, leave the things that don't resonate, and that they have the wisdom to know the difference. In this space, we are protected. In this space, we remember our wholeness. In this space, we share love with one another healthily and wholeheartedly. In this space, we find a sense of peace, and so it is. Ashe. Pretty powerful if I say so myself. I'm just saying. I mean, the divine did it. It sounds so good. We love it. And I'm so glad that you guys are in this space with me for 11 o'clock. For 11 o'clock. So I got my pot of tea. Woo! My hibiscus tea. I'm so excited. I haven't had any for probably like 2 days or something. Maybe a little bit longer. It's maybe been like 4 days. Yeah, it's been something like that. And that's like a long time for me lately. So jump. You know what that makes me feel like? That like meme of that little girl who's just like, and she has like the flowers. exactly what that makes me feel like. That's hilarious. It does. It's so warm, so good. Okay. I'm gonna gradually get more comfortable. I just came from a walk, um, which was really good, like a long walk. And I felt like I needed it. Um, so this drops us into the title. The title of today is maybe I should do my disclaimer. Well, I used to have a disclaimer at the beginning that was like, oh, I cuss a little bit and blah blah blah. But I don't feel like that's not necessary. I don't cuss like these other people cuss. This one girl, she gave us the disclaimer of like, I cuss over here. And as soon as she started, I said, oh, she cusses over here. I said, oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Well, look, she said, if you about it, you can stay. If you're not, then be about your way. But that's how I feel about most things. If there's something that doesn't resonate with you, or not just something that doesn't resonate. If there's something that doesn't resonate, don't take it. But if you really feel like this is not your message and, you know, this isn't offering you any value, then, you can feel free to find something that gives you more value, to be honest, and I'll send you blessings along your way. But I feel like, the divine be here, the divine be with me, and the messages. So, you know, I'm sure there's takeaways for everybody. Sure, there's takeaways for everybody. Um, that's so funny. You know what it makes me think of right away, even saying that? Like, there's sometimes I grew up in the church, right? And even when, the rhetoric gets a little crazy, I'd be like, oh, my life. Ugh. And that's another video we're going to do really soon, but not tonight. But rhetoric, right? About rhetoric. But sometimes when that would just like get too much, I would still try and find like the God in the message, right? And it may be like a whole bunch of other stuff around it, but if you're really listening, you can find the God in the message, no matter what it is or who it is. Period. Um, Also, too, if you believe the divine created everything, it kind of plays into that. But I'm not here to argue with nobody. I'm just here to share my messages that the divine showed me to share with you, to be honest. So the title of this video is I Got What You Want. I actually didn't want to keep that song. I got what you need. Because when I started to read the rest of the lyrics, I was like, this is not necessarily what this is about. But I think just that part of the song, I got what you want, I got what you need, was the title that came up for me when I was like, what should I name this, God? And it had to do with the fact of just knowing the medicine, knowing your own medicine, knowing the medicine that you need. So the medicine I needed right now was a deep breath. Because I felt the energy getting hype, I needed to like just breathe a little bit. So, Noah's knowing the medicine you need. So that was something that came up to me earlier this week, right? Because I was like leaving work, mind you, some background. Just finished a 10-day cleanse that my sister leads for Real Beauty, is her handle. Okay. And Vision Board Experience is also her additional business. They're kind of united, integrated. So check her out. But just finished the cleanse with her, and that was really good for me, I felt like. And of course, like now being off of it, it's like, oh, I got the freedom. I can eat, kind of whatever. And not that I'm eating whatever, but it just like gives me more freedom to be like, oh, I really wanted to have this. Like it's holiday season. Oh, I really wanted to have this. I wanted to have this. But it is making me think about what to have in moderation. Right. So, anyways, coming off of that, I'm still trying to make better choices, right? Like, let's not go and buy some fried chicken. Like, let's not go and, do some other stuff that's not necessarily the healthiest, right? Because we're out here trying to live forever. And I I was leaving work the other day and I was like, I'm really hungry. I have certain foods at home, but like I need something else. Like I need something else, right? And my insides was craving like iron and some protein, you know. So, but I didn't want a burger. I was like, I don't feel like a greasy burger. Like I just like as much as Ashante Marie, loves a burger. I don't feel like a greasy burger, but I don't also feel like these like overly processed, don't have no flavor on them burgers neither. So I was like, I don't want neither one, you know. And I kept like bouncing back and forth for some time, and my insides was like, you kind of want some like chili cheese fries, and I was like, chili cheese fries? That's so random. 11:01 on the clock. That's so random. But I was like, but chili cheese fries sound hella good. 11:11. And I'm like, well, the main place that I think about getting some chili cheese fries is Wiener Schnitzel, right? But the closest one is like a little bit away. And I was also like tired. Like I'm like I'm tired. I don't want to go hella far. I barely even want to get out of my fucking car. I just want to be at home. You know, it was one of those like I just need to be it. Like I need to be in myself, take care of myself today. And so I went. Finally, I settled on this place that I have been wanting to try for a while, but I've been nervous because I'm like, oh, is it gonna be good? Like, what if it's trash? And I was like so nervous. But I kept being like, nah, I think we could be safe with just getting some chili cheese fries from here. Like, you don't really want their burger, like, because I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what their burger look like once I get these chili cheese fries. So I'm like, okay, great. Um, and I get that. I like decide to go there, order it, whatever, waiting. That was a fine experience. Get home. When I tell you, like, them chili cheese fries was absolutely medicine that day. Absolute. It was like my body was like, no, you needed this. And I had some extra beans at home that matched the beans of the chili. Girl, God, look, play around. I may go get me some tonight too. But hmm. But it was hella good, bro. I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is amazing. Like every bite, I was like, no, I needed this. Like, it's not just like, oh, like it's fulfilling that like I have this craving and it gives you this high and then it goes away. You're like, no, it was like my whole body was like, thank you. And so for me, when I crave potatoes, especially nowadays, when I crave potatoes and like a real, first of all, I love potatoes anyways. Okay. Anyways, but when I crave potatoes, um, in a like I gotta have them sort of way, it's usually after I've done some level of energy work, whether it be on myself or other people. But I'm like, it's one of my energy recovery things. Like if I'm not trying to eat like a steak or some meat or something, then it's usually like, give me a potato. Like I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my earth signness, but I need that thing that's in the ground. I need that. I need to eat that. So sweet potatoes be up there for me too, but like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it like reminds me of my childhood. I don't know what it is. But I remember that one of the curanderas that I took a class with, she was saying that like sometimes after heavy energy sessions, like you need to go and get you a like big burger or a burrito or a steak or something like that. Like you may need that even if you're not really like a meat eater like that. Sometimes you may like need that as a recovery for some of the work that you do. And I be feeling that sometimes, like a lot of times, you know? And I feel like potatoes have been doing that a little bit more for me, especially when I'm not in a carnivorous feeling moment. Um, so that was already like in my mind, right? Like food is medicine. I was like just knowing and then knowing what you needed. Like I thought it was so random that my insides was like, okay, you want some chili cheese fries? I was like, chili cheese fries. First of all, I haven't had chili cheese fries in a minute, you know? Um, and I hadn't like, I'm just like, okay, that like sounds good. Like it was just like, to me, a random thought, but a divine thought. And kept pulling me to this place, pulling me to this place. Said, go here, go here, go here. And I kept being like, no. I kept looking at other places. Do I want a burger? Do I want a burger from them? And even when I said like, oh, maybe I'll go to that same place and get a burger, I was like, still no. You want chili cheese fries? You get chili cheese fries. Period. Like you don't want them from none of these other like drive-through places. That's not what you want. You want to go to this place. You want to get these chili cheese fries. When you listen, you're blessed, okay? Listen and you will be blessed, okay? Because that did the dang thing for me, okay? That day. Oh my God. So then, kind of fast forwarding into today, but to give you background on today, yesterday I woke up and I had a dream, and I wouldn't classify it as a nightmare. To me, it was just like informative. Um, but people would maybe mark it as like a bad dream, which it felt like too, you know? um, and I was really just like confused. And considering that my dreams provide me a lot of information generally, and I felt like I hadn't been remembering them for a minute, uh, I felt like, which is odd considering that I was on the cleanse, because being on the cleanse, it makes you feel like you should be receiving more, but it was like really quiet, you know, but maybe because it was setting me up into a space for me to receive the message that I received yesterday. But anywho, I woke up and I have an early morning. I had an early morning that day to where I had to be up at like 4 something, 4:30. And I think I woke up a little bit before my alarm. No, I for surely woke up before my alarm, probably around like 3:30 ish, 3:20 ish. And I have remembered the heaviness of the dream. Like I had woken up to use the restroom real quick, but it was just like, wait, what the bleepity bleep? What is this dream? What does this even mean? And it doesn't make me feel like I'm so confused and I'm angry. Like I'm confused and I'm angry and I'm like, I just don't know what to do because I don't even know what this means all the way, right? So I'm like, rarely do I wake up from a dream and feel like it puts me in a mood, like a bad mood. And yesterday, I was in like a bad mood. It was one of those like, this is one of those days just to get through sort of days, you know, like I'm not trying to say that it's like the worst day because I'm going to claim that this day can get better, but it was just like there's only so much more better that I can feel after this. There's only so much like peace is what I'm reaching for. Happy, joy, and dance and all of that. I'm not about to get that out of today. But peace, contentment, that's what I can get out of today. So that's what I was kind of like trying to focus on. And, you know, thank God. Thank God. Like, even though I really, when I tell you it was so hard going to work, it was so hard going to work that day. I was the last freaking thing, effing fucking thing that I wanted to do was go to work, okay? And it was like my double day, my longer day. I said, ugh. I was so angry. Like, I was so like, ugh. And I have to pretend like I'm not this person that received. Like, here's the thing I think sometimes. This is why I think it's interesting that God, to me, has told me that I have to stay somewhere in between this. Like, you are a spiritual conduit, yet you really have to stay in this, like, mundane, like, world that, and, like, integrate the two, you know, in the spaces that you occupy. And sometimes that's really hard. So now I'm going to this rink. Half of these people I don't even know believe in divine. You know what I mean? I mean, and just trying to bring the love, the light, and the joy, like, and not needing to be like overly happy, but I'm usually just like, I'm good. Like, I'm usually just like good, like, no matter what, right? But that day I was like, ooh, this is gonna be hard, girl. I was praying hard. Oh God, help, help. Okay, sometimes 2, 3, 4 on the clock, 20, 34 on the clock, right? Sometimes you just need to ask for help. Okay, and help will come because once I got into my lessons and it like took me like a moment to park, so that was kind of making me a little bit more aggro, and I was like, bro, you gotta calm down, like you cannot bring this into your shit. um but did that lesson, and that morning, because of like being there was so much traffic, rainy week, like it's been crazy. I didn't end up putting on my skates that day, which was fine. She's a good enough skater for me to teach her a lesson without my skates on, okay? But we did good. She had a good lesson. And in the lesson, I was able to like laugh. We had like a good laugh. So first it started off just like quiet, slow, whatever. And I was trying to like manage my fucking shit. Okay. You know, one of my coworkers was like, "You okay?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I was like, I'm all right. Like the fuck, I'm gonna be all right. Like, don't let these fucking people see you sweat. And I'm like, I'm all right, but I'm like, just like, you know, when you wake up from a bad dream and you just like don't know what the fuck. Like, don't know what the fuck. And you don't have time to like cry or process that shit out. You have to fucking just show up. You have to show up. You have to show up. And that's the thing that sometimes is like so hard. So hard. So hard, God. But we do. And yeah, it was ended up being a good lesson. We ended up having such a good laugh. It was such a good laugh because it was such a good laugh. Um, where you get into those like haughty chuckles, the you know, you know, where it takes over the whole room, and it was hilarious. Because my student, she should just be listened to me earlier, girl. I wanted her to take this test this one day, and she is like da 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 da, freaking out about these tests. So I was just like, fine, we'll wait. We'll do a virtual test a little bit later, but we're gonna do it soon. And then when I was telling her, hey, this virtual test is coming up, when I was giving her the dates, 2304 on the clock. When I was giving her the dates, she was just like, oh, I want to take off the 20th. Like, I'll get to miss a science test or something like that. And so she had the wrong month, right? I was talking about November. She was talking about this month, October. And it was funny because she was like, oh, that would be so good. You could just tell my mom and I can get out of school. I said, girl, first of all, don't let me be the person that's trying to get you out of school. Girl, don't have me to be the culprit, okay? Then I was like, they do have a test session on the 20th. That was the one that I wanted her to sign up for. I said, if you would have signed up for it in the first place, you could have missed that test. You could have missed your test, but no, you didn't want to listen to me because you didn't want to take the test. I said, look, listen. So that's why I started to laugh because I was like, girl, I gave you the answer. I literally gave you the answer to the test and you still got the first one wrong. How you do that? But and that was just like a little joke. So all cool. She'll take the test in divine timing, but it was just like good. It lightened up my mood, right? Uh, so left there, came home. I think I just like put myself back to bed. Like I was just like, you're gonna go back to sleep because you're gonna try and wake up and feel better. Like I think I took a nap. I woke up, I felt better. I had more energy. I was like, okay, we can do this because I had to go back to work and I had to do more hours. Oh, and I love my job, so it's hard to feel that way. And so um got back to work and I was like, oh my God. But first lesson ended up being good, solid. She made me laugh too. That was fun. She's always like saying my name so cute. Ashante, Ashante. And she says it so intensely with this look on her face. And I think it is the cutest thing in the world. It is the cutest thing in the world. You know what I mean? And it's just like one of those things you want to just like remember forever, right? Uh, and I'm just like, yes, yes. um, so that was really good. And then I had a lesson with my other student, and she came in. She comes in sometimes with a mood on her often. But she came in and her hair was look, being the black mama, okay, of the rink, okay. Look, she came in and her hair was all over the place. And I said, look, you can't be coming in here looking like this. Okay. I said, why your hair look like this? Why it look like you just rolled out of bed and got on the ice? And it is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And she's like, I had my hood on my head the entire day. I said, they let you wear your hood in class at school? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, all day? I said, this is crazy. And then I was talking to my other student who was right there with us. I was like, they let it. She was like, no, not in my school. And I said, girl, because how are you supposed to learn? How are you even like, how are you even super present alive while you're in your hoodie in school? Like that is a part of you that you're trying to close off. Literally so many of your eyes that you're trying to close off and you think that that's conducive. But I guess at our school, I don't know, maybe they had a little, lice issue over there. So I guess like it's okay for people to keep their, I don't know the rules and regulations over there. But I was just like, girl, let me fix your hair real quick. Okay. And put it in a better ponytail, better something. Girl, because I was like, girl, when I tell you she looked, I said, you can't be coming on ice something like this, girl. But I think that also put her in that mood of like she wasn't ready to learn. She wasn't, engaged. She was just like, I'm like, girl, today is not the day for you to be like that. I can't pull you out. Like when I tell you she's been going through her growing pains. It's her growing pain season. So our lessons, you know, often have a little bit of tug in them. Okay. And which is fine. I've been doing this for so many years. I'm like, all right. Most of the time I'm like, all right. But because of I was like, oh, I don't have it. So I even had a conversation with her. I was like, look, Chloe, we go through this often. We only have so many days until your competition, too, number one. So we really need to lock in. But I was like, you know how you sometimes don't be in the best of moods? I'm not in the best of moods today. Okay. I'm going to do a good job. I'm going to focus on doing a good job, but I don't want to, I don't want us to be at odds today because we may be both feeling away. Okay. I want us to be on the same team like we always are and then push forward. So she was just like, yeah. And so we did. We did work. But pretty early, we were supposed to have a secondary lesson. I was like, off ice, like conditioning thing. And I was like, this week is not the week for that. Sometimes you need to know where to stop, where to, I will give so much, and this is where I cannot. This will be an extension of myself that I don't know if I'm willing to, like, give and let disintegrate. Do you know what I mean? That's that burnt outness, So I was like, I was sure the mom wanted to go home too. So I told the mom afterwards, I was like, hey, we can skip today. And which ended up working out because other stuff in the week was going on. So it worked out perfectly. So I left work that day. I was so grateful to be done, to have made it through. by divine grace. But I was just like, yes, yeah. Yesterday I was just like, let me go to bed. Like even when I got back home, I think I cleaned up a bit. Yeah, I cleaned up a bit in the living room. Oh yeah, because I stayed in the room for a little bit, watched a show or two, and then I didn't feel like cleaning, but there were some things I needed to do because it was garbage day, so I needed to get certain things out of the house. So I did that. Right, mustered up the energy to do that too, taking care of myself, the medicine that I needed. Because I would have been really mad the next day and things would have been either stinky. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been a happy camper with it. It was 33 on the clock when I was starting that. And so took care of the things I needed to, cleaned up a little bit, and now I was able to go to bed. And now I could rest because now it's not going to stink. Now it's going to smell good. When I wake up, I'm not going to be angry. Because have you ever woken up? I'm sure you guys have. If you guys ever lived anywhere in your life. Okay. If you woken up in the morning and something in your house stinks, right? Like maybe somebody left something out, like whatever. But when you wake up and you're not used to your place thinking, okay, how about that? When you're not used to your place thinking and you wake up and something stank a little bit, you be like, girl, it makes you like in a kind of foolish mood. You be like, wait, what the fuck? We gotta get this the fuck out of here. You know, like I can't even, this is not even good energy. It's not even good juju. Which is interesting of what I wanted to talk about later, but we'll get into that. Not even good juju when it comes to that. So, especially the ones that linger. I think that's what it is. Smells that are there and that linger, not good, right? So, did that, went to bed, woke up. Today's the new day, right? And I want to go on to the medicine of today, but yesterday's medicine was rest, right? The thing that I wanted to say about smells, though, real quick, is because as I was walking, there's this like, I don't know if it came from a Malidoma Some book. If you don't know about him, look him up. And his, uh, one of his ex-wives, Bofu Some. Uh, there's so many words to say, but anyways, I may have learned in his book or with other readings that I've done, um, but that sometimes a random whiff of like foul odor, I'm pretty sure it was Malidoma, um, indicates that like spirit or the divine is in the room. And today, when I was at the store, I was like standing in line, being ready to be rung up, and kind of in my own world a little bit. I had a lot floating in my brain at that point. And I just wanted to get out. I just wanted to get out of the store at that point. And as I was like getting like about to get rung up, there was like a whiff of something. She was the cashier was like, "Do you smell that?" And I was like, "I do actually." And it was a random foul odor, and she was like, "I don't know where it came from," but then it soon left too. Right? It was only there for a moment. But she was talking about that she smelled it, you know, earlier when she was like by the restroom or something, and she was just like, "I just cannot take it." She kind of, and then I had to circle back and like go back to the line, but she kept saying something to that effect and in my mind the whole time. And she was mm, Middle Eastern of some sort, for sure. She had a necklace in Arabic, and she was just like, "Please, I don't want that smell to come back." And I was like, "That's so funny." And I'm like, the smell was kind of like, ugh. But there's that African proverbs that are like not even proverb, but that African like belief, I guess, was what popped up in my mind often, you know, because I think I even experienced again on a walk, and of course, you know, where it's just like spirit is present. you know, and it's not the one that like lingers and stays, right? That's not the same thing as having like a foul odor in your house. That to me is negative energy for sure. For sure. But say if you're like everything is fine and there's just like this brief like moment, yeah, like you know, I could respect that, you know. Um, but who knows? You know, whatever vibes for you is what it is. But it was just interesting. Smells, odors, whatever. That wanted to come up. So going back into the medicine, knowing your own medicine that you need. So today, earlier, I was feeling better for the most part, and I was watching this show and kind of getting my rest on a little bit more in a wholesome, loving way. I was watching my Korean show that I was like so into, so into. And there's only like an episode and a half left, and it's so good. And it's like a cooking Korean show too, so like it gives me the cooking vibes. Um, and but it also, of course, like any great K drama, it does have its like love story and like drama. So the love story was getting to me though a little bit. It was making me a little bit more emotional with whatever I'm feeling on the inside. And today is one of those days where it was like I knew it was going to be on my mind more today. This is my day off too, so that also gives me like more space to think about that, even though there's other things that I've been taking care of. Like right when I'm done taking care of the things that I want to take care of, here's that person. But anyways, it's not about him. This is not about him. It's not about him. I knew that it was making me emotional, and I really didn't know how I felt on the inside about a couple of things. You know, uh, hmm. It's like, how much do I want to share? Because I knew I was going to cross paths with him today. Like today is the day of the week that I usually cross paths with him. Let's say it like that. So I was like, not sure how I was feeling about it because the last couple of weeks it's been different each week, and I just didn't. I just wanted to go in there like calm, and I wanted to walk out of there calm and just like good. Like I didn't want it to um, flare up my energy in a negative way. So, but my insides was just like I can't. I live 5 minutes away from the place, a drive, 5 minute drive. So I was like, I feel like I need to walk today, you know. And I had never walked there from my place, but I've been wanting to, just to like see what it feels like. And before I went to that place, I had to go to another store. So the store was where I was with that girl, that cashier, and we had that moment. But then after I went to the store, I had to go to what I like to call my watering hole. And so yeah, like considering I felt like I wasn't in the best of moods. I was like in a good mood, but I was just in a like there's a lot going on in here mood that maybe like locked up in my body too, where it's just like, and that's the thing, energy gets trapped in your body and you need to move it through you. So I knew a walk was going to help. And like even the start of the walk, the first 10 minutes of the walk, I was just like, I really hope this puts me in a better mood because I'm not really necessarily looking forward to crossing paths with him at all. Like I was and I wasn't. Like the insides of me was. The outsides of me wasn't, just because I was like, yeah, exactly that. Like that hard pause that just happened. Exactly that. That's what it that's what it had me feeling like. Okay. So, anyways, the walk was exactly what I needed. By the time I got to the place, I still had a lot of like nervous excitement, but I was like in such good spirits that it didn't matter. And walked in with good spirits, walked out with good spirits, you know, and that was one of the best things that I could have asked for. Um, but I knew I needed that walk to do it. You know, like I wouldn't have been in that space had I gotten in my car and just driven over there and driven back. I would have not been in that space. And I was like, no, I need clarity. I need clarity. So the walk was so medicinal for me. And not even just because of like the walk in itself, it's because of the nature, like seeing plants, seeing colors. Um, and I was in a space of not really wanting to see that many people. So I tried to take the quieter streets or the quieter routes for the most part, even though it's like it's kind of a slightly busy esque area. Um, I tried to take the quieter routes just because I just, you know, needed that for myself. But it was like the colors, it was the plants, even some of the people that I would walk past. Um, and it's so funny because sometimes I can be in a space of wanting to be like unassuming. I don't want people, I want to wear my hoodie and have some like dark sunglasses on so nobody's really seeing me, right? Because I really do feel like I carry, and this is how we get into the sub subjects of royal status. I carry a royal status, and I didn't necessarily feel like there's a piece of me that always knew, and there's a piece of me that like had forgotten for many places of my life too. So I think when I do carry it, or when I do honor that part of myself, or recognize that part of myself, it's refreshing and interesting. And I try and still like find human, like it's definitely not an audacious like I'm royalty, like no, my friend, one of my close friends, um and I really had to step into it. So there's so much story around this. How do I shorten it, God? Growing up, I'm like, I was called princess, you know, by my poppy, my father figure, and his twin brother, right? Princess. And also too, they said that's like where my name is derived from. Like my name is Ashante. Like I'm like have the same name of an African princess or African tribe, and like so that makes me a princess. Whatever. I used to say my thing. If you ask my cousin Pierre, he would tell you exactly what I say because he likes to repeat it every time he sees or like hears me on the phone or something like that. My name is Ashante, and I don't know how he says it, but it's hilarious to me every time. So it was like something I didn't know, something I was reminded of when I was a kid, something I forgot again for a long while. And then I felt like when I went through my wilderness rites of passage, when I came back, I was like, oh, I know. Like there's something like I know. Like I know 43:34 on the clock that I'm royalty. Um, but it was like still an interesting like huh, huh. In the beginning, I was so confused because even on the drive back, I felt like every person I noticed was bowing to me. And I was like, I've never noticed this before. I was like, I've never noticed this before, but I was like, is this really happening? And it was probably a 3.5, 4 hour drive. And it was happening throughout that whole time. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, does that mean I'm royalty? Like, I don't know. It just made me have that thought. Does that mean I'm royalty? Like, people are bowing to me like I'm royalty. And, you know, I sat in that for a while, and that happened for weeks and weeks and weeks and continues to this day. Um, but through the weeks, I was just like, what? And I kept it to myself at first. I wanted to tell my friend who was in the car with me, but I was just like, maybe, I don't even know. I think maybe I mentioned it when we got back to like back into town, but I'm not 100% sure, but maybe I did. But when I bring it up to her, and like years have passed, this was 6 years ago, 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago. Um, when I bring this up to her like randomly, because even after a couple of years, it's like it's still settling in my system, you know, and in a grandiose way, like because I just feel like it's big in a grandiose way. Like I don't feel like it's like, oh, you're like just loyalty. Like no. It'd be the Capricorn cackles, bro, for me. Okay. So when I would bring it up to my friend, even like I brought it up to her probably like a year ago or something like that. And she was like, it's because you just like you carry this royalty energy. Like it's just you have it. Like you carried it like, and I was just like, one, I don't try to necessarily. I don't not try to, but I don't like try to. But she's like, you just like people, she's like, people pick up on it. It's just natural. It oozes from you, sort of thing. And I've always just been like, really? Can anybody pick up on it? And like, even today when I went on my walk, I still was trying to like keep my cool. I'm walking slow. I'm keeping my thing. But girl, everywhere, everywhere. Even this one lady, I walked past her. It's something about, there's so many things I want to say, God. There's something about sharing love. Did you hear that? There's so many things about sharing love and like shining your light, right? So I felt like that was a part of the walk. That's a part of royalty too. Because even when I wanted to be into myself and like keep to myself, the moments where I did pass people or people would make eye contact with me, like to me, it was just like such this like sharing of divine energy and like light and love that it's like it was worth it running into these people or crossing paths with these people. Interesting. And even still, yeah, people are like bowing to me. People like feel like it's like I feel like the people who even maybe want to say hi the least are like eat, you know, or eat. Hmm. How do we even? Even the ones who don't, I feel like they want to notice, respect, or whatever me. They spirit do. The angels on their shoulders do and instruct them to. Do you know what I mean? Like it feels like that. Cause it'd be even, yeah, especially this one guy, he was like, I don't know, at this place. Security guard at this grocery store that I went to. And there's something with body language in me. Like I really feel like I read people's body language a lot and it informs me of a lot. And so there's this like, and it's like, so black people will do like this, but we'll do it like this. And we like, hey, we see you. And it's like love, love, you know? It's like, hey, what's up? But it's not like a, I'm better than you. In other cultures, what I've seen is this, I'm a better than you. They think that they're better than you, sort of energy, right? And so, so I walked up and this guy initially, and because you know, some historical racism is easier to pick up on than others. Let's say it like that. My hair is getting so long, God. You can't even see the tips like this. You see a little bit of the front ones, but that's crazy. My hair is so long, bro. If you go back to the videos, you first of all, you're gonna see videos where I didn't even have locks. Second, you're gonna see videos where my locks were like so short. They were just like little babies, little twins. Look how long they are. Gross, bro. That was a good conversation I had with my student the other day too. The one who I was just like, look, I'm not in the best mood, but we all gonna do this. We gonna do this. The message I had to her that day, or like what came out of me, because even in that, it'd be like spirit is talking to me through me, and I'd be like, okay, God, I hear you. But it was just talking about growth being uncomfortable, right? Because she is in the, like I said, she's in her growing pain stages or whatever. Uh, Not only just like actually in numbers in her age, um, but also the level and stuff that she's in skating, and needing to now adopt a higher mindset to be able to continue with whatever she wants to accomplish. So I was just like, I get it, because she keeps saying she's scared, and I was like, we got to reframe that. We got to pick a different word. We got to pick a different word. So that's one of the conversations. The second conversation was more so just like growth is outside of our comfort zone. So the analogy that I gave her, I was like, imagine a seed, and sometimes you just need to break it down into a way that a kid can like understand, right? Because you can just say, you have to get outside of your comfort zone, and they can be like, okay, what are these words? Who gives a shit? So then I was telling her, I was like, it's like a seed, Have you ever seen a plant grow? And bro, when I tell you, anytime when I ask her like a rhetorical or like a question like that, she's always like, no. And I'm like, come on, girlfriend. And then she's like, yeah, I actually do know what you mean. So then I was talking about a seed becoming a plant. I was like, do you think it's comfortable to like break past all of that dirt to like then become a plant? Like, it is not comfortable. She was like, no, I don't think it's comfortable the whole time. So I was like, that's what growing is. I was like, if it wanted to stay comfortable, it would stay in its seed and it would never sprout. And she was like, I had a plant that never, sprouted. And I was like, that's what happens. You have to feed it the right, like, energy, materials, you got to feed it the right stuff. 51 on the clock. Let's go, 6 6. Okay. You got to feed it the right stuff. Knowing the medicine you need. So that was, really good for us to come to a message I needed to be reminded of. Even though I think about it often, it's still just like, yeah, no, I need to keep that, image in my thought, in my mindset of, a seed breaking open. That's uncomfortable. AF. Then let alone needing to push the dirt away that somebody packed on top. you know? But so much of life's sustenance depends on growing seeds. Mm, mm. Message, message, message. Did somebody hear children? I don't know. It's a lot of sounds. I'm being hecka silly. Okay. I keep looking over because my little board is over here. Knowing what medicine you need. We talked about the walk. We talked about chili cheese fries. I was going to talk to you about like kale and zucchini. My insides feel like it needs kale and zucchini, so I'm going to do that. The guy at the store, because I was like I said, I was kind of in my own mind once I put the stuff on the belt. And I didn't put one of those things in place because it was such a short line, and I thought she saw when I put my stuff down, so I thought she knew when to stop. But she started to ring my stuff up with his, and he was like, "Oh wait, you're getting blah blah blah," and so she took it off, real quick. He was like $3.81 for a zucchini or for some zucchini, and it was only like 2 zucchinis, so it was really expensive for these zucchinis. But they were like a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, but these were organic. And I was just like, yeah, it's kind of expensive. Like I usually would never. And I thought I weighed it out enough in my hand to where it wasn't that. But no, that's kind of what I waited to be. Kind of, sort of. I knew it was going to be like that. Anyways, so, but I told him, I was just like, yeah, my spirit needed it though. And he was just like, sometimes it's okay to splurge on the things or to not look at the prices on certain things. And I was like, yeah, a little splurge every now and again is like necessary or something like that. So we just had that like friendly candor. And then he even like thanked the cat or said like, you're such a great cashier. And mind you, that's why I smelled Spirit. That's why Spirit came by, because Spirit had already been by. That's what happened. The guy, who was just like, white older man, and not to say that everybody that's different colors are racist against other colors, but like, you know that people come from different backgrounds and you just never know people's histories and, you know, blah blah blah. So me being black, her being like Middle Eastern, and then him being like white with his like person. He was with a woman. I don't know with his. I don't know if they were partner. I don't know. I don't know. But he seemed. Hmm, he was a certain character. That's all I can say. Without trying to like overgeneralize or judge, you know, what he may look like on the outside. You can't judge a book by its cover, right? So when he ended up like laughing it off too, and like us having that like moment, it was just like, oh, it's such a relief. It's so nice to see, you know, to have those moments because you never know. And and then he was even really nice to her. He was like, you're such a great cashier. Um, and that was really kind of him. Like he didn't have to say that, you know. It wasn't like, oh, you're making us take longer. Like, and I said sorry like a couple times. He wasn't tripping. Nobody was tripping. Everybody was like, she's like, it's okay. Everybody like, it's okay. We're all okay. And that was like such a cute, beautiful moment, an exchange of energy. And like right as he was leaving, that's when that whiff came by, and it wasn't him though. Like it wasn't him, and I don't remember seeing anybody walk. Like maybe it was one person that walked by, because it was like this one African guy who looked like a prince. Thinking about royalty, he looked like royalty. Okay, royalty. Okay, I said, hi cousin, hi cousin. We recognized each other. But then there was maybe like one little like shorter person, because that guy was tall. One little person like walked by at between that time, but I don't even know. So to me, that was spirit. That was set because even at like when would that moment happen? I was like, oh, this is so divine. This is so like nice and like perfect. And the smell happened, and then it ended up like making me for like every. Anyways, I had to get back in line after that, so I bought my stuff, got back in line. But it was just a moment, like, and I really feel, you know, grateful for it too. It was nice. And to say that I didn't like, I was at the point in the store where I was like, okay, it's time for me to get out of here. Because on the walk, I didn't want to be around people that much. But then I ended up being like lighter energy, whatever. So walking to the store, I was all right. And this one guy in a like scooter wheelchair thing needed help with some bags. And I helped like to grab some bags and like pull them apart. So I did that for him. And we did it together because I had pulled four all together. And he was like, I need them one by one, and I already had like other stuff in my hand. So we both one handed. So we one handed at that moment. So he held one in, and I was like breaking off pieces, and he sat it on the edge of his thing, and he was just like so grateful. He was like, "Thank you so much," and it was like my pleasure. Something so easy to do. Something so easy to do that gave me joy. And having the topic has been, which is probably going to continue to be for a while, is like asking for help, offering help, and receiving help. But then also the fact that like all of those things are providing blessings for everybody involved, for everybody involved, right? So like imagine him not wanting to ask for help and just kind of being like, I'm just going to throw all these things in here, or waiting to ask somebody else or a cashier or somebody like a worker to help him, right? Versus just being like, I'm gonna ask the she's standing right here. And so of course, my pleasure to help you. Like, I know you can't stand up and get these bags, you know, it's like easy. And then that made me feel good. Like, of course, it makes anybody feel good about themselves. I help somebody. Like, it makes you feel good about yourself. You know? It's like why people give to charity too. Like some people probably do it for some other kickback, but like honestly, it's because it makes you feel better to be blessed, and to be give blessings is a blessing. Are y'all hear me? So then I thought was thinking about the fact that like onlookers are hearing this dialogue. So when you even watch somebody help somebody else and then watch the gratitude, right? And that love exchange, it makes you feel some type of way too. Now you may be nicer. Now you may offer help. Now you may even ask for help, you know, from somebody. Oh, can you reach that thing at the top? Right? Like a lot of times I be telling my nephew, I said, look, God gave you like, and this is not like all that it is, but I'm saying that, when you're blessed, you can bless other people. Um, my nephew being literally a giant, 6'9", six, I'm probably going to get to 10, maybe just that, but 6'9" is crazy anyways. Um, I'm like, God gave you us, like, because he, and I mean us, me, my mom, and my sister. His dad is in his life too, and so I mean all of them too. But specifically, I was talking about me, my mom, and my sister. Like God gave you us, gave you to us, so you can help us reach these tall things and carry stuff that we don't have to. You know, in the time being, like you're so tall, and when I tell you he's so tall, it's like, girl, if I get a step stool and still be reaching up like this to get to something, my nephew goes like this. It's right there. No tippy toe, nothing. I'd be like, oh my God, this is what you're here for. Not entirely, but this is part of what you're here for. And I'm so grateful. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your assistance. Thank you, God, for making you like this. All of it, I'm so grateful. All of it, I'm so grateful. So, yeah, like helping people, asking for help, being of service, all of that stuff. It's all a blessing. It's all a blessing. It's all a blessing. So ask for help if you need it. Okay. Um, what else before we get off of here? Because we are at our hour mark. Okay, Jesus. Thank you. Let's see. I think the last thing that I wanted to get into was respecting nature and its medicinal properties. So watching the Korean show this week, of course, it makes me think about like wanting to learn more about like medicinal foods, right? And I already know that that's probably like going to be a huge part of my path, but I'm curious about it in different ways. But because of watching the Korean show, it makes me want to think about it more in Asianic way. Like ginseng, like making broths and stuff, like that's something that's been really intriguing for me. And I've been wanting to make some like dashi and all that stuff, but like to use some of these root vegetables, I'm curious about. And I've always been like a hybrid, Asian eater. Okay. Um, period. Especially, yeah, period. So that's something I've been wanting to look into more. And like healing yourself, because in the show, one thing that really sticks out is like one, not only just like food being something that can, bring back some of the fondest memories, um, or brings you back to your childhood, or offers you a flavor you've never, ever tasted before, but more so that it's healing, that food is medicine. Food is actually freaking medicine, you know? Um, and I just feel like the more I learn about herbs and things like that, the better off I'm going to be, and the better off the people that I serve will be. That's how I wanted to come out, so that's why I said it like that. Um, yeah, just having knowledge. You have to have so much knowledge of so many different herbs and how they work together in order to understand their medicinal values and properties. But I think one of the things that I really wanted to bring up to you guys before I get off of here, because I'm starting to get tired, so it's kind of my mind. I feel spirit winding down. Um, is respecting nature. So on the walk too, one, not only seeing the pretty flowers and all of that stuff, um, But like scents and aromas are also super helpful. So one of the first like stops on my walk, there was this really pretty like white rose with like pink in it a little bit, but like faint pink moments. And God was like, stop and smell the roses. Stop and smell the roses. Um, so I did. And it was just literally one singular rose. But it smelled so good. So the first sniff, I was like, couldn't really smell anything. And the second sniff, I was like, oh, it was such a good rose smell. It was so nice and delicate and sweet. Oh, and descriptive words even. Oh, I don't know, seeing art, seeing colors, seeing vibrancy, like understanding nature, like all of this stuff is just giving me life right now. It's giving me joy. And I just hope that like if you're looking for in search of any like a pick me up or joy, like go to nature, cook some food, some natural foods, like make something. So, anyways, starting with the smells, right? First thing I ran into was that rose. Smells so good and so sweet. Yummy, right? Then there was rosemary nearby. It was like 4 rosemary bushes. So I rubbed the rosemary, smell my hands. Oh. And that, bruh, I know the smell of rosemary, medicinal in itself, let alone its actual herb. Oh, I was so excited. So I was even like, okay, Spirit, I'm about to come back. I'm probably going to come back and get a piece if I can, if you allow me to, you know? And so I went for my walk. And on the way back, so I've done all my visits and I really just am on my way home. There was this, well, when I was on my way there was this really pretty, like, red flower. I posted it on my Instagram today as saying that I was going onto my live. I don't know why I like to be secretive about it. 1717 on the clock, but it's okay for me. I don't know. Maybe I have a Scorpio side that's trying to keep it, under wraps until it's ready to be big because it's gonna be big. So, like, I'm chilling right now. I'm chilling right now. Um. So, anyways, there's this red flower, and I was like, "Oh, I'm for sure. Like, I gotta come back and get a picture of you because you're so pretty. You're so beautiful." Also, asking permission at the same time, mind you. So I went to my places, my little stops. I was walking back, and I stopped in this one area that's kind of by those red flowers. It was this like little kind of garden, not garden, walking thing, web, walking web is what I would call it. And there was this like ginkgo biloba in the center. Oh. And so I walked around the ginkgo biloba a bit. And they had a rosemary bush over there too. And I was like, let me smell it. And I went over there and smelled a little bit, and it was just so good. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll take this piece of rosemary instead of the other piece of rosemary. And so, in my practice, where I'm at in my life, um, is that when you take something from the earth, you also want to give thanks and appreciation or give it an offering in return, you know? So, with rosemary specifically, because to me, if you there's there's different level of offerings that you can give to the earth. Um, Water, saliva, um, probably a couple of other things, but also what I've come across in my life and throughout this journey is like certain plants or flora and fauna want certain things. So I've noticed that like citrus plants, especially like a lemon, but a citrus, like even pomelo too, they like weed. Like so tobacco and weed is often 11 or all the ones was on the clock, okay? They like tobacco and weed too, but some may want one more than another, is what I would say. And I feel like lemon has really. I was thinking about this earlier because I knew I was going to come on this video and say it. I was just like, these people are going to think I'm a little bit crazy. But maybe you're not. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. Because I'm far from it. Unless we talking about something else. Okay, like protection. Okay. That's when, the divine covers me. Okay. Um, Jesus. How do we get here? Lemons. So yeah. Citrus, they like some stuff. This rosemary, all the ones on the clock again. This rosemary to me likes water and all that stuff. But to me, it feels like even just like giving rosemary water is not sufficient. I feel like rosemary likes a song and it likes a poem, one of the other, right? Or like some level of like, not devotion, but like a devoted prayer is what I would say. 11144. A devoted prayer, so to speak. And that's just like of love. So when I was there, at the first or at the bush by the red, or at the rosemary bush by the red flowers and the ginkgo biloba tree, uh, I gave it a poem. And like it started to rhyme and then it didn't rhyme, but then it became kind of one of those like devotional writings. Like that's what it is, like how you would imagine poetry. Um, and even things that don't rhyme, like the candor of what poetry, you know, holds or conveys. And so did that and was able to get a piece of rosemary from there. And at the second location of the other rosemary bushes, I was like, should I get another piece? And I was like, yeah, no, get another piece from here. And like, even in that, there's a piece of me that wanted to be hasty and just like take a piece. And I was like, I'm sure you're giving me permission, but it wasn't like, it's like soft permission, right? Like you need like a double confirmation sort of permission. And so it was like soft permission, but it was still just like, no, you still need to do the things. So I gave that plant water again. Also said another like smaller, quicker prayer because at this time I was just like, I can give what I can give, right? And so said my prayer there. And oftentimes, even in that, I'd be like, okay, what piece can I take? And so, how I knew I was taking a piece or trying to take a piece in haste, and it wasn't like actually meant for me to take, was that generally, when I do wait for the appropriate permission, when spirit is like, okay, grab this piece, the piece comes off really easily, right? I just like do a little bit of thing and it breaks off really easily. Now, when I don't have either sufficient permission or didn't do all like the things or whatever, it becomes really hard to break off a piece, right? And not to say that you don't need scissors sometimes, because I've used scissors in other times, but even still, I would give appropriate permission or get appropriate permission. But yeah, so when I was trying on the second bush, which was really the first, um, to take a piece, it like gave resistance, and I was just like, I know I need to not take this like this. Like I know better. I know better. I know better. So did things, Then I was like, okay, which spirit should I take? Which sprig, okay, um, of rosemary should I take? And it like in my heart, it goes that one, right? Like using your intuition. That's really what it is. Using your intuition. And there's one that's like this one right there. And as soon as I pulled it, it comes off nice and easy. Nice and easy. Perfect. And I said, that's how you know. And showing proper respect to nature. That's why I think it's going to be so cool when as I do continue to learn more about plants and what they do and their properties and how they help and how to mix them and like do this stuff, because I do respect everything, you know? Um, so I'm just like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I feel like the more that you respect the tools and the items that you work with, the better whatever you produce will be. And we know that. Like, it's just like if we want to just go straight into chefery, you don't have a great chef have dull knives, bro, on purpose. Like, they keep a sharpener on them. They keep the best of the best of them, what they need on them, that they like need, but especially they knives. So you got to take care of it. Even like when I think about like a construction worker or something like that, like a man's toolbox is his toolbox. You know what I mean? You don't mess with a man's toolbox, sort of thing. And that's how I feel. That's how I feel with, asking permission from these medicines, the usage of these medicines. Like, thank you. This is why it's also great to like, why can't I think of the word all the way? And a different word is trying to come out. But it's good to have to pray over your food. Like even in watching the show towards the however whatever episode I didn't watch today, number episode I didn't watch today, it I was like, none of them pray though. None of them pray over their food. Such heathens. I didn't really say it like that in my head, but I 27. I was just kind of like feeling that though. I was like, y'all didn't really do none of that. That's weird. But to me, I think at least what's presented in this show is that the chefs gave so much care and consideration to what herbs and everything that they were using, um, everything protein or everything that they were using. That that in itself was the prayer. But that's why they always talk about, or not who is they and who is always. But that's why it's talked why it's talked about to prepare your food instead of just being like, oh, I need to cook food. No, like maybe one, not cooking everything, because raw diets in certain areas or have consuming certain raw foods could be good for people. But saying the word preparing food, because preparing feels like you're, giving life. You're caring for it versus just cooking. I'm throwing like and I'm not giving two shits about something, and I'm gonna put it in my system, but I didn't give two shits about it. So what am I thinking about myself if that's two shits and I'm consuming two shits? Crazy. So giving, gratitude and just like caring for the food that you make. Maybe you aren't somebody that prays over your food every day. Maybe you're somebody who already just prays so much. Because I feel like I don't want to be wrong in this situation, so I'm gonna keep this that part cute. Sorry, I really wanted to see who this message is from. Um, oh, thank God. First of all, I'm getting all these messages. I'm getting all these messages that I need to get off of this phone. I'm like, okay, I got a work assignment. And then I'm like, okay, somebody, she has a treat and a treat. That's the other thing. Royalty, you get treated. Thank you. Sprinkles. It's like blessings. You know what I mean? But I also think that's a part of just being a good person. If you're sharing and you're shining your light, you're also going to get blessed. But people want to stick to themselves. And sometimes I do too, but not all the time. Because I know I'm a bearer of light, bringer and bearer of light. But my mom made some soup, and I'm really excited to go pick some up. So, yay! And it's Italian wedding soup. Ooh wee, ooh wee. Um, respecting respecting nature. So yeah, I just think, first of all, oh, respecting nature. Okay, so this is why I'm gonna share this. That's why it's perfect that I looked at the phone because I was like, oh, you shouldn't be looking at your phone thing. Who says? It's my part of the universe. I'm about to get off of here in a second. I say that to y'all all the time. It's just like, to me, I feel like when I say that to y'all, it reminds me of like when my mom would go over to my aunt's house and they say bye for like an hour. You'd be like, okay, we about to leave in a minute. Okay, one last thing. Okay, one last thing. Okay, one last thing. But then it takes like like it takes like legitimate time to get out. Like this is where this is what we do. I keep being like, Spirit, I'm tired. I gotta go. And Spirit be like, hold on. We not done with you yet. I'd be like, oh God. Okay. So anyway, speaking about food being medicine, right? I should post the picture. My mom sent that she made the soup, but she sent a picture earlier this morning because she harvested the parsley from her backyard garden that she started this year, which is really exciting. But I guess as she was cleaning it, she found this caterpillar. When I tell you the caterpillar is like, yeah, probably that size. And beautiful green with these spots on it. I was like, oh my God, how big and how beautiful. And like, oh my God. So mom said in the caption, or when she sent the soup, she was like, um, from the caterpillar's home, right? The parsley, into the Italian wedding soup. And to me, that feels like a deeper message than even just that. Do y'all hear that? The caterpillar butterfly? Because even when I saw that, I said, oh, that's a baby butterfly. Weddings? Did we say children earlier? What is this energy? It'd be a lot. It'd be a lot. It'd be a lot. Shout out to anybody that remembers my video, A Walk to Remember. I feel like it's giving those vibes. I wanted to bring that up in this video anyways, but it's definitely 1:22:55 on the clock. Definitely giving those vibes. 5:55. If it's 1:22:55, that was 5:55 on the clock. Felt. Okay. So, is that it? Yeah, no, this walk was definitely something interesting. Um, all I know too is that leaving. What am I trying to say? Because that's not what I was about to say at all. No, that was leaving the place that I was like nervous about visiting. That's how we say that. Leaving the place that I was nervous about visiting, I was just like so grateful. Like I was grateful for the walk, and I was grateful to still feel great. You know what I mean? Like to still feel great. And that was really important to me. Like I felt God's love. I felt joy and happiness and splendor. And to me, I was just like, that is God. And I'm like, yes, yes, like, yes. Like, girl, have y'all heard that song by Donnie McClurkin? Will you let go? I trust you, Lord. Will you stand on my word? I trust you, Lord. Against all odds, will you believe what I say? What I say I do. What if you call my name and don't feel me near? Will you still believe in me? Or will you fear? Yes, I will trust you, Lord. So when I was just saying yes, yes, that reminds me of the beginning of the song. Yes. Will you trust God, bro? Will you just trust God? And to me, I feel like the don't pray and worry energy was on, like around me these last couple of days. And that's kind of what I felt like walking out of. Like, it's just like trusting in God, trusting in my prayer, trusting in what God has shown me. And it even has led me to believe and being happy in that. Do you know what I mean? And I think so much a part of me is fearful that I've misinterpreted a message or that I have, you know, just conjured up all of this shit myself in my own freaking head. And I know I haven't because that's not even how my walk on this earth goes. Okay. But, sometimes we always feel like we need proof, but sometimes there's like divine delay. And that's something that I wanted to come up today. Um, and of course, I felt like the last couple of weeks, if I would hear that statement, like I even talked about it in one of the videos, and I felt that then. And then, like, after I talked about in that video, I was like, I don't know about this. I was like, I don't know about this shit. And then, but today kind of resonated again with divine delay. And I was kind of feeling it the other day when another messenger gave me that message. I was kind of like, I sense that. And like, there has to be a story sometimes, Not to say that you need to be going through some like tragic old craziness to have a story, 127, 127 on the clock, some tragic story or anything like that. But it's just like sometimes it just has more of a story to it, And as much as I talk about divine timing, right? Sometimes it's hard to walk in that space. But just to think, if when I was first looking for my school where I did my master's at, when I was first looking for my school, first of all, I wouldn't even know if I would have been receptive to what the school would have looked or sounded like had I come across the school when I first was looking. And I was looking for months. Like, so it wasn't like I was like not actually searching. I was like, I kept going back. I kept being back, kept going back, being like, hey, like, I'm still looking for a school. Something's not like, it wasn't resonating the way it needed to resonate. 128, 28 o'clock. It wasn't resonating the way it needed to resonate the other ones that I was looking at. So I was just like, I don't know. And like, maybe I'll find out more when I get there. Because all of this shit was unknown. All of it was unknown. I don't know what this master's thing is going to be about. I'm just convinced myself that I'm going to get one. I'm the first one, like the second one in my family that has one or was like going for one. The first one of my grandmother's children that was going for one. Like, and being one of the youngest one of my grandmother's grandchildren and going for one. Like, all of this shit was new shit. All of this shit was new shit. So all of it felt uncertain and felt uncharted territory, like. But I knew that I needed to go to school. It was just something that just kept coming up. It just, like, I knew it back in the day when somebody had mentioned it some hours. 129, 129. Why do I keep catching this? I knew it was something that back in the day, a friend had mentioned it to me, and people had mentioned to me time and time, but there was this one time where this one friend had mentioned it, like, why don't you get your master's? You're so smart. Like, you just need to get your master's. Like, and I was just like, to me, I felt like, is it even necessary? Like, one, is it necessary? Nigga, who's gonna pay for this shit? and like, and I never really seen nobody do it, you know. But when he said it, was something like it sparked something in me to where it was like, okay, I'll like actually consider it a little bit more. And it's like, yeah, I do have it. And like people have been like, you're the one. If there's anybody in the family who's gonna do it, you're gonna do it. And I'm like, I know, I get it, 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 I get it. And may there be more in the future, plenty, plenty. Um, and so, if that's what they want, is what's meant to be. Um, but so from that moment, it was like a belief of like, I know I need to do this. And so, yeah, it had been months that I was looking for a school. And there was a certain point where I had to literally just like let go, message, let go and let God. There was a moment, and I talk about this in the other video, but there was a moment where I was going to a work conference, and there's something with being up in the air that I just feel like clarity, closer to God, something. Maybe we outside of certain networks, so it just makes me a little bit more open. But I always feel like usually in flights, some good stuff can come from it, right? So I remember praying on one of the flights, going to the conference, that I'm like, just like put me at ease. Like, that I want to go to a school. That I've been looking. That I've been trying to do the study thing, because apparently these other ones that I'm looking at that are not my first choice, I have to take this like standardized ass stupid fucking test, and I don't want to. But like, if this is like, or if these are my closest fucking choices, this is what I'm gonna fucking do to get to where I need to go. So, but I was like, you know what, God, I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna trust you, and you're gonna just put me where I need to be when I need to be there. So I remember having that prayer on the way there. I remember coming home on my way back and just being like, I'm still gonna sit and be in this place. I think sometimes going to conferences or being on a vacation of any sort, it's easy to like disconnect from, the realism of everything. But then going back, it's like, oh, I'm about to step into the same old, like, blah, 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 mundane world, day to day stuff. And it's going to still, stir up this unrest of like shit needs to change energy. But I'm going to try and let my anxiety around this subside. Like, I'm going to continue to study. I'm going to continue to work towards the thing I'm going to work towards. And, by the time that I'm ready to take this test, like, because that's what I had to trust. I said, by the time I'm ready to take this test, by the time that I feel like I'm going to go through, like, get to this test, and my goal is to, be ready to take this test by this certain month, right? Or these couple of months, which was like going to be early at the beginning of the next year, because it was at the time of the conference, it was like June, July, end of May, June, something like that. Summary, okay? And so it wasn't until October, a few months later, this month. It's 9 o'clock on the clock. But until this month, where, and this month is always good enough for me, but I digress. Lord God. I came across, because of looking for something randomly, all the random got me to seeing an ad for the school that I ended up choosing. And it was literally the best, most divinely orchestrated, one of the most divinely orchestrated moments of my life. Because being in the air that day, I had said, I want a school that's like this. I said, what kind of school? If I could imagine anything, that was the prompt. That was the prompt. If I could imagine any sort of school I wanted to go to, I wanted to be like this. I wanted to have qualities like this. I wanted to make me feel like this. I want to do this. God said, and I was like, preferably, I'd like it to be closer than Fur. far. You know what I mean? I don't want to go too far. Like that's not where the space I was at. I was like, I would go a little bit far, like Southern California or something like that. But like I wasn't in the space of wanting to like move far unless it was something outrageous, right? Outrageously perfect. So guys said, bet, I got you. Doing a whole bunch of stuff in the background. I don't know what's going on. I'm over here just walking in faith. God's just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. Whatever God had to do up in there in the ethers, then did. And said, look, today, Ashante, you should look for this and click on this and go here. Intuition. You should look for this, click on this and go here. And this ad is going to stick out to you. Why this ad is going to stick out to you? Because a couple months in between, because I don't know if I had gotten the book before. I probably could have had that ordered the book a little bit before the conference, but maybe not. But it was within that year. I ordered this book. What is it? It's over here. It's called Wheels of Life. And I think the subtitle is like Eastern and Western. Look, I'm about to get the book. Look, just give me a second. Instead of me over here guessing this shit. Is this the one? Or is there another book? I don't think, is it the Wheels of Life? Now I'm over here like, where is the other one? That's hecka funny to me. Oh, maybe it's over here. No. Okay, that's hella funny. Okay, so apparently it's not this book. I don't know. Anyways, it's not this book. I thought it was this book. But if you don't know about this book, I love it. Okay. Rules of Life. It was like one of my opening books to the chakra system that gave me like more information than just like the old school Google search. Like now we have AI, so I'm sure you can get a lot more, a lot quicker, maybe. But this had like more in-depth information that I wanted to know of in a certain capacity. As I went forth in my studies, I also learned about more ancient and historical writings around the chakra systems in different cultures and stuff too. So I have a different outlook about this book, but it still provides a lot of good information. It has one of my favorite quotes. One of my favorite quotes. It's one of my favorite quotes. Is it highlighted? Is it right here? Oh, my favorite quotes. Okay. And it's in the chakra 2 system, the sacral chakra. But in the title of the section is called Changing Levels. But the quote is by A. Eddington. And it says, we often think that we have completed our study of one. We know all about two because two is one and one. We forget that we still have to make a study of and. Let me read that for y'all one more time. We often think that when we have completed our study of one, we know all about two because two is one and one. We forget that we still have to make a study of and. And the reason why I love that quote is because there is so much in between and, right? Right? Because if you even think about black and white, there's so many variances of gray. The study of and is all the stuff that's in between. And that can mean different things for different properties, for different studies of one and of another one. You know, it's like saying you're studying someone, a human being, and another someone who's also a human being, but they can come from completely different places. They can have so many different like things to them. So, anyways, one of my favorite quotes. I don't know why all of this had to come up, but I thought this book was the book that said the other things, but maybe there's another book somewhere, and I don't know if I've given it away or whatever. But it was a book that felt like it was this big that I thought was this. But it had something like East West something on there. And that book and seeing 4141 at the time, or 1441, seeing that on the banner of the school made me go, East West Psychology. That sounds like something, because look, here's the thing. Here's the thing. God didn't say, I'm just about to show you what this school is. It didn't say, here, go to CIS. It didn't say that. It didn't just say CIS. It wouldn't have stood out to me. California Institute. Like it wouldn't have said nothing to me. It wouldn't have resonated with me. But East West Psychology, nah, that was saying something to me. And whether it be the book that I had gotten before, or whether it be like throughout my other studies that kind of just led me into that East-West mindset world or thought process, or seeing those words together like that, which made me click on it. But I wanted to go to school for psychology, and I wanted it to be something that wasn't normal ass psychology. So to see East-West Psychology, I said 141 on the clock. That's exactly for me. Like that was exactly for me. And when I tell you that changed my life in so many ways, changed my life in so many ways, was exactly what I needed, and way more, and way, 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 way more. But had God had shown me this school, that ad, months before, I don't even know if I would recognize it. I don't even know if it would stand out. And look, sometimes things be in our face all the time anyways. Maybe I've seen that ad before. Doubt it. But maybe I had seen that ad before and it didn't resonate for me. Lo and behold, 9:09 on the clock, the school was in the same city. Not even just in the same city. You know, the job that I was talking about that I was just so adamant about, like I need to shift positions here. It was walking distance. There's something about walking distance in this video too. I'm gonna have to navigate. But walking distance, it was in walking distance. A 5-minute drive. Okay. Maybe 6 because we in the city. 6-minute drive with but a 20-minute walk from my job. It couldn't have been better. It could not have been better. It could not have been better. And it gave me an opportunity, again, to stay close by my nephew. I want to see him grow. I know it sounds silly for some people, oh, no, you need to go and do your own thing. And I'm like, yeah, I am going to do my own thing. But a piece of my life is supposed to be me or my nephew. And this is that. So I was just grateful. And I still am so grateful. So there's something about divine and divine timing, and just being and trusting God and having faith. I didn't mean to drop that. Trusting God and having faith. The messenger earlier this week that was talking about the praying and not worrying, she was just like, don't pray and worry. And if you're gonna worry, don't pray. And I was like, oh, bitch, snatched. Clutched a pearl or two, okay? Girl, jeez. I said, okay, God, I hear you loud and clear. So, and so much of like the journey of the other thing that I was talking about earlier has been around 444 on the clock and 9/11 over there. It was like worry, you know, like having prayer, having faith, and then also worrying. And like that tug of war has been uncomfortable and destructive, you know, in certain ways. And so today was a day where I was able to sit with nature and I like in my little um what did I call it earlier? Like garden web or whatever. In my garden web, I was, you know, encouraged to, say my prayer because I felt so clear and to really just like let go. Okay, God, I'm just going to trust you. There's been so many signs. There's been so many signs. There's been so many signs that I just need to let go and trust you. And God has given me timing and like not timing instructions, but timing indications. Like clearly, even early in on the walk, I was walking and this one car had certain numbers. I said, my numbers and my sister's numbers, interesting. Next car I see when I hit the corner had my numbers on it. I said, oh, so this walk is really for me today. All right, we got it. Then there was like a message here, the message here, and I said, all right, bet. And then so throughout the whole walk to remember, right? It was just confirmation to trust the feeling. And remember another, reader, she goes by Energy now, but went by the Tarot Priest before. She says, and I love when people are rephrasing some of these statements that we use, the positive rhetoric. Let's go, God, show me the way. This turning things into positive rhetoric, right? So, right, to feel good is to feel God versus like God is good all the time and all the time God is good. Because it's like you hear that and like people say that and don't be believing that shit for shit, you know? I mean, for real. I mean, for real. God is good all the time. They only say like they say it at certain moments, anyways, right? And no judgment. If you say it, cool. I say it sometimes too, okay? But this reader or intuitive rather, she says to feel good is to feel God. And I said that resonates harder. That sits harder in my system. Maybe because I haven't heard it my entire life, but to reframe it in that way, gives me a different way of living, right? So in that walking away from certain things, I was just like, I feel really good and I feel just like love energy and I'm just happy. And like, to me, I said, there cannot like the moments where I had been in thought about this particular thing and have not felt good, or when it makes me like cry in a non-happy way, it's usually because it's like I feel like it was the worry, but it was also like the fear that my intuition was wrong, you know? And during that walk, I was like, if me trusting my intuition, if me trusting the messages and the signs and everything that God has given me thus far is making me happy, is bringing me joy, is making me feel light and like capable of anything I put my mind to, like that is God. Like that is God. And like that is God. And I don't want to worry about what if it doesn't come to pass? What if that's not like I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to sit in that anymore. I want to sit in, you know what? God got me. And God shows me the right direction to go. Always has. Always has. So when I say like knowing the medicine that you need, it's not even just you. It's like God is instructing you towards the medicine that you need. Are you willing to listen? Are you willing to follow? Are you willing to see or even hear the call? Because even when it comes down to like as trivial as like not having the chili cheese fries on Tuesday or whatever, I could have for surely, because I kept being like, Ashante, you don't really need to spend money. Like you can just like you don't really need to spend money like that. You can go home, you can like make something with something. You know, you can put something together. You know, trying to be resourceful. But everything in my energy was like, no, no, bro. Like today is not a let's be resourceful and let's put together stuff because it wasn't gonna be no preparation of food. It would have been something I threw together. It would have been cooking something that I didn't want to just throwing some things together. 1:51 o'clock. And that's not what I needed. That's not what I needed. And I could have just dismissed that thought of chili cheese fries as like, no, you don't need that. Or even worse, I could have like gotten the burger that I didn't necessarily want to get and feel all like that oily heaviness. But even the thought of like consuming the burger that I would have normally wanted, I was like, ugh, like I just cannot take that coat of like oil. Like I can't, I don't want to get it away. um, but like those chili cheese fries and getting to add extra beans to that, bleh, life. Don't you want to again? Like bet. So, are you willing to hear the call? Are you willing to listen to the call? Um, Trusting your intuition, trusting your prayers, letting go of fear, letting go of worry, you know? So, that's all I got for you today. That's like funny to me. That's all I got for you today. I hope this message resonated with you. If you lasted this long and was able to listen to all of my banter, please drop. I said that on the last one. Drop a teapot in the thing. Maybe drop like an ice water, or drop a ginkgo biloba, or drop. Hmm, I doubt that they have like a chili cheese fries emoji, but you can drop some fries. You can drop some fries in the emoji thing. Yeah, that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Spirit, for being here with me. Thank you, Spirit, for delivering the messages that I needed to hear and that they needed to hear. I pray that God loves and keeps you throughout the rest of your journey. And I hope that you visit me here again soon in my part of the universe. So, good night.